Hello, it is Aimel once again for my analysis prediction of P4G. This time is week 5. We are almost half of the season done. And yeah, again, no, that was the intro. No need to say more. We had again another good week we had last week. So now we want to see what week 5 has to offer for us. Starting with the matchup of Playmore versus Jack. 1 second, just there you go. Just dropping the music a little bit because it's a bit loud for me. Not sure how it sounds for you guys. But yeah. Alright, so on Jack's side, I like the Raikou because the ground type is Crocodile and the dragon type is Altaria, so Skull will be strong and Thunderbolt will not be to a dragon that resists it unless actually no, there's no Terra Dragon on Altaria. So yeah, it's pretty much just Superior that is annoying, but it's not unless it runs Cover Cloak. Serp has to be worried about getting paralyzed. Or you can just, Raikou can just pivot around with Volt Switch, because again, Crook has to be worried about switching into Raikou, into a Skull, potentially. If it's not Scarf, he has to take the Skull and not get burned, potentially. So a bit risky, but I like the Raikou nonetheless. Lucha is also like a terror offensively. Like, the moment Pokemon like Altaria are chip, like Lucha can be a terror. Like, really, like. Do I need to say more? Is Alucha. It's like, strong Grill Stab. Yeah, it would be a strong cleaner if positioned right. I also like Armor Rouge for its power here. There's no Pokemon that resists fire and psychic as a whole. It's pretty much the likes of Porygon 2 that is the tankiest to take a hit from Armor Rouge. So again, very terrifying to face. I like Geraludon as a blanket check to the Superior by 4-time resisting Grass. We're also setting up Rocks since it also scares Heathering for big damage otherwise. I also like the Velusa here offensively as well. Like, maybe not Filleaway, unless because Filleaway is so risky. Like, I know it learns agility. That could be like a nice substitute for Filleaway. Like, sure, you're not getting +2 to get attacked, but you're not cutting half of your health for it. And I think Velusa is still plenty strong enough to just hit super hard with sharpness boosted attacks. And then last, I just put Scrafty as a it can be whatever it wants. It can switch into Crocodile. Also eventually it can switch in doing decent damage and support with knockoff and drain punch as well. So that's it. The 6 I'm gonna say for Jack. And as for Playmore, I like the Adorine. It's pretty strong. Of course, he has to be careful about getting more done too quickly, because otherwise he'll just not be able to just either sweep or just stay out long forever. But I still like it. Like, it can be pretty strong, especially because it can take advantage of. If Jack brings in DD, he gets a free psychic boost for the likes of Florges and Raikou. If not, then it's fine. I also like Altaria here, just for its typing. I thought like offensive Altaria with Dragon Dance can be terrifying for Gravy to face. Sure, Altaria doesn't hit that hard, but with Terra, that can compensate for the damage. I also like Tentacruel here, because it also improved the matchup with Sinistcha. Like, I didn't mention Sinistcha on Jack, but it can be pretty strong because Tentacruel has Liquid Ooze, so it punishes Matcha Gotcha and Strength Sap, and Sinistcha cannot do anything about it unless he wants to run a mediocre healing move that doesn't target Tentacruel otherwise. But besides that, it's still useful. It can spin, it can flip turn, you can just press on poison potentially. I like it. I also think Frostlass is good here, especially as a lead to get the hazards up. The only removal option for Jack is the Lucha, if I don't say anything stupid, yes. So, and since Lucha is better offensively, then those spikes will be more than likely to stay. And last, I would say Porygon 2, because like I said, it's the sturdiest thing Playmore has to take a hit from Armor Rouge. But it does decent back. like nothing big, but at least it's not terrible into it. I'd say the matchup is close, but I'm gonna give it to Jack slightly because I like his top 3 versus Playmore a lot more than Playmore side. Alright, next is Siba and Jerii. So, on this side, where Chase wants to win back after that big loss versus Playmore, Overcool's pretty decent. His dual stab does decent damage. He can also lay Spike. The only other removal is the Bramble Ghast, I believe, if I look correctly. And Overcool is pretty strong into Bramble Ghast. Then Empoleon is also very good. It's decent into Tornadoes. It's not perfect into Goodra, but it can at least switch to its stab. And yeah, it's press on knockoff because there's Vaporeon, so it's not gonna do much offensively. I think it's just gonna be support. Like it could be like knockoff. You can just try to be annoying and stand around. The trio offensively is pretty good here, especially with if you could Terra Flying. It's pretty much just Gligar or like a Terra Carbink that can take your hits comfortably. Or if you predict between Mesprit, Underground move, etc. But I think it can be pretty strong, especially if placed correctly. I like the Virizion here as well. It can get entry on the Crowdont because it resists both its stab. It has Justified to punish a knockoff. And that's also I think it's gonna struggle a bit with Bramble Ghast, but you have Overcool for it, so I don't think it's terrible. So then I like Gastrodon here to. Yeah, I did think Gastrodon you could use Gastrodon for Goodra instead of Empoleon. Or you can try to use Empoleon for its stab, then Gastrodon for the coverage. That's an option as well. And then I like Ursa Ring because it can just be a 1-for-1 artist if wanted. From my point of view, it will be bulky. It can hit hard, so I'm gonna go with 6. As for Jerii's side, once again gonna mention the Goodra Isui because it's a Isui Goodra in low tier. Its stats are great. And its typing is also great, especially to double fairy from Seabed. I also like the Palmart here offensively. At best it's pretty much like a physically intimidate Overquill or Gastrodon. They can take his hit at best. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be a big game for the Palmart. I like Vaporeon here as well. It's tough in Empoleon. It's good versus Talonflame. Just so you can pass wishes. Just be your standard bulky Vaporeon. The Bramble Ghast, I think it's also pretty decent here. It can lay hazard of its own. It can be annoying with Leash Seed. You have to be careful about Strength Sap, but I feel like it's fine because you have Vaporeon versus Empoleon. Gligar is also pretty good. You can have both hazard between Bramble Ghast and Gligar. And also Gligar is pretty good into Overcool since it takes its physical hit decently and it cannot get poisoned because of immunity. You pretty much have to be worried about a Sword Dance boosted liquidation if it's Sword Dance Overquill. And then last I didn't know what to put on Jerii last. I still put the Crowdont because its priority Aquajet could be useful. Sure there's Virizion to be worried about, but if you play Bramble Ghast correctly with it and Crowdont, I think you'll be fine. Again, another one I think it's close, but I'm gonna give it a little bit to Seabad on his side. Do I remember the reason why I gave it to Seabad? Actually, I don't remember why I gave it to Seabad, but it's very close. It is a very close matchup, nonetheless. So, next, Ellie and Callum. So, was it Ellie? Yeah, Ellie was versus Uzi week 4, but we saw the strike was Choice Scarf Sandaconda. While Callum won versus Jack, I believe, if I remember correctly. And also, as you can see, Ellie did some transaction. I remember clearly she did not have the likes of Moltres, Flygon, Floatzel, Whimsicott, and Farigiraf before. So now her team dives into a little bit more on the rain. Now she finally has a swift swimmer that is a water type. And her flying type is much stronger on the special side for more powerful Oregon. But yeah, speaking of her team, well, I did just say that she improved her rain. I still don't think it's good here. You'll see why. Well, I think Lucario can be strong here. I think I will prefer special Lucario, so that way you can use the moves like Dark Pulse into Scarlet Dirge while having priority like Vacuum Wave, which is pretty good. I like the character here as well, like Terra Fairy. If you give it a good amount of speed EVs to get the jump on Scarlet Dirge, while also being able to survive a Brave Bird for Hunch Crow, you can claim some kills like Dark Pulse and Terra Blast Fairy is pretty threatening to Callum. And that gives you your fairy type versus Regidrago. You have Whimsy Cuts, so I don't think it was initially going to be a Regidrago game, but here you have it. I also like the Quillfish here because it can take hits from Mienshao because of Intimidate, unless it's inner focus Mienshao. But you can also get Hazards up since the only spinner is Sand Slash. You don't have a Ghost, but that would mean also being Sand Slash into the matchup. Like potentially. Like, Moltres also pretty nuclear here because Callum as Flying Resist is Weather Room, which gets melted by Fire Blast, of course, or just any fire move. And then after that, I did kind of struggle what to fit in, but just put Farigiraf and Flygon, which I think are pretty versatile and can hit pretty hard in the matchup as well. So I'm just gonna go with these two last. As on Callum's side, Mienshao is decent, not amazing. Unless, like I said, you go like inner focus to not get slowed down by Intimidate Quillfish. But I think you can still be a very annoying Pokemon to deal with. Scarlet Dirge, also think it's still good. Because again, you can check the likes of technically Lucario if you like prep the Scarlet Dirge good. And then beside that, the Lapras. Because like I said, the reason like I don't like rain on Ellie's side is because of the Lapras. Since you can just has Water Absorb, and you can just, of course, be a Terra, so it's gonna be hard to remove if you're gonna go Rain. Unless you really go into the Moltres, which of course is a possibility. Just be careful on like not getting knocked out by your own Water type attack versus a Lapras or anything. I also like the Hunch Crow here offensively because Brave Bird is a strong move here. Like really, like if you don't have to just claim like multiple Brave Bird, like maybe just one Brave Bird can be enough. Unless like Ellie does like a bulky Moltres with Flame Body, then that will ruin your Hunch Crow. But I'm still gonna say nonetheless, Pheasant Deputy because you need something for the Moltres, and Pheasant Deputy is the only thing that, I mean, it and a Lumamula, I guess, that can take a hit and do something back, sort of it. And then like I said, I put Lumamula as more rain secure and also Bashing Wishes for the team, which can be very useful. So I think it's also close, but I think Callum has it more on Ellie in my opinion, because of the Lapras that helps with the rain, and also, I mean, yeah, I think it's a good matchup for Lapras. Yeah, so that's the matchup for this one. Alright, next, Nexus and Kyle. Yeah, week 4 was Nexus versus Joey. We saw Petron when Western Petron. We saw it, then Kyle got his first win versus Druby, if I remember correctly. So yeah. So on Nexus' side, Swampert, pretty good all around. He doesn't have a bad matchup against anything except Hydrapole or Terragrass Bombardier. Also helps that Zeb Striker isn't Terragrass itself. Also, yeah, you saw that Nexus has new Pokemon. Yeah, he now has the likes of Breloom. I think there's a mistake in the... They're supposed to be Comfy, I believe. Like, yeah, I think it has Comfy this week. So just think this is Comfy instead of Whimsicott. And then like you see like the regular Rotom instead of Rotom Fan, and then Bastiodon to replace the Stone Jonah. And speaking of the Bastiodon, I think it's pretty good here. Like as a body press user, it's not like Cerulean can break it immediately, and also it doesn't have a strong attack stat, but Rock Move from it will still be doing a good amount of damage because it's super effective. I also think the boss diff is pretty decent here. Sure, there's a wheezing, but if you catch it on this, with the stakeout Psychic Fang, Kai will be in trouble. And outside of that, it has strong crunches. If you don't think of predicting is your game. Dragalge, that's another Pokemon that is good because it's good into the wheezing if you feel the boss diff. It could offer toxic spikes if the wheezing is not is levitate. I also like the comfy here. Like again, it's not Whimsicott, that should be comfy. Sure, there's bronze on, but you can just wear them down with the leashy. Just have to be careful to not just be ready to deal with Zap Strike if it's like Sap Zipper instead. Well, at worst case, you have a Swampert, you have a Mabosstiff, so you have Pokemon to fall back versus Bronzong if you're not like predicting right versus it. And then last, I put Breloom last because I didn't know what to put. I didn't think Entei or Espeon were particularly great. I mean, I guess Espeon was the closest, but I put Breloom for its priority back punch. It's good versus the likes of Ambipom, Non-Terra Fairy Bombardier, Hitmonchan. And Spore can also be a strong move depending on what he fights. Because Garg is immune, but it's weak to both a Breloom stab. And then it will be a Drapple otherwise. But I think it's still good. And on Kyle's side, we'll mention the Cerulege again. Because it is strong. Like, the likes of Swampert are the better Pokemon to take its hits. Unless you go like Intimidate my Bosstiff just for it. So if Swampert eventually gets into a uncomfortable amount of HP, Cerulege could be a terror. I also like the Araquanid here, just for strong liquidation really. There's Dragalge, sure, but at least you can take a hit from Dragalge and fight back a little, or even set up webs, especially if there's no Espeon in the picture. I also like the Eyedropple here. There's not really a lot that... I mean, the only ice moves that I can see that there is, but I believe it's like a Swampert. I'm not sure if Mabosstiff gets Ice Fang. So then, I mean, besides that, it would be like Aerial Lace from Breloom. But you can take pretty much a hit from anything really. Even Comfy, because Comfy uses Draining Kid, which isn't initially strong. You just have to be careful, but not let it set up a Drydapple. But it can be pretty strong. And then, yeah. I'll mention the Ambipom here as well. There's a ghost type, but it's one that is be worried about a knockoff. And its priority fake out is also it can be very useful. And then I put Whizzing G just for the likes of Breloom and Mabosstiff. And then let's put Bronzong for the likes of Comfy and Espeon. I'm gonna give it to Nexus because I feel like if he's able to pressure Kyle like good enough, he can do it. Just have to be careful to not let get pressured himself. But we're gonna go with Nexus on this one. All right, third to last, I mean, is Thomas and Nate. Thomas, we got a very rough loss from Shakle, whereas Nate fought who again? I don't remember. So much for me watching the matchup but not remembering who fought who. Hey, he fought Jerii and Jerii won. Right. Alright, but for this matchup, on Thomas's side, Staraptor is a nuke. I mean, like always. Like, Nate's highest physical defense mon are Cobalion and Muzdale, which doesn't resist flying. Like, its only flying resist is Lycanroc and Electivire, which have very lower defense. So Raptor can be a powerful nuke. Gator is also pretty strong here as well. Again, just another nuke. It's slower, but it's Gator. You cannot underestimate the Gator, like at all. I also like the Donphan here for the likes of Cobalion and Electivire. Will also prevent getting rocks or even potentially spin if there's no Trevenant. Well, you know, just knock out the Trevenant on the switch. Meloetta, I also like it as a special tank, I would say, because Primarina is a terror. And on his team, I think Meloetta is the best to take hits from with an Assault Vest and pivoting around. I also mentioned Tinkaton as a potentially other backup or just spread of paralysis or knockoff. And then let's put Salazzle, because I think its stabs are pretty strong here. But yeah, like very offensively, like Primarina resists fire but is weak to poison. Cobalion is immune to poison but weak to fire. You get the idea. It's pretty much just Muk. But if you can pressure Muk good enough. Also, yeah, Tinkaton can switch it to Muk because, you know, you resist dark and you're immune to poison. And on Nate's side, Primarina is a nuke. On his side, slow, but it can, if positioned right, it can be very strong. Like we also know, it's Primarina. Muk Alola is good to take special hits from Thomas's special attackers, so Meloetta, assuming it's, you know, regular Meloetta, and also Salazzle. I also like the Cobalion here. Like, I don't think you necessarily want to switch your Cobalion into Staraptor, but it can take a hit from Raptor. Just be careful to not like let it be too much pressured. I also like the Flamigo here offensively. Like, it's pretty much like Nate's own version of Staraptor as a Flamigo. It's slower, but has fighting stab with flying stab, so it can be very threatening on Thomas, especially with close combat. So this have the strongest fighting resist. Salazzle and Livani are frail, and Miss Magus gets hit through with Scrappy. And then I also like the Pyro here offensively as a special attacker. I was close to put Lycanroc with Terra Grass as well because it will just flip its matchup versus Donphan. I went with Pyro because it's another special attacker that can just pile on with Primarina. And next I just put Muzdale as another Pokemon to try and slow down Raptor. Like, you just go max defense and helmet, and you just try to wear down Raptor, especially if you get rocks up with Muzdale. Yeah, another one is close, but I'm gonna give it. Well, I'm thinking of giving it to Nate more because I feel like its offense is a little faster than Nate in this comparison. And Raptor strong, but it just killed itself so fast. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Nate, but it's a close one. Alright, Uzi and Joey. Uzi having won his last match, and so did Joey. So, I believe Joey is just one win away to be confirmed to playoff, while Uzi is still on the fight since he has lost in week 1. On Uzi's side, I'm gonna say Okie Dokie because, you know, it's Okie Dokie, it's pretty strong. Sure, there's Spectra around, but maybe you can try something like Taunt to mess with it, or Bulk Up, or something. I also like the Dunsparce here because it's pretty tanky. And can be pretty annoying depending on what it is, like if it's like setup or just support. I also like the Kilo Watchel here with his dual stab. It's just Regieleki that resists both, otherwise it can hit pretty hard. If landing Hurricane, that is. I also like the Delphox here. You can pressure like the Incineroar because it now has Focus Blast to hit it hard. Just need to hit your Focus Blast. No big deal. I also like the Hunter here offensively. Like, it has a Scarf, like a Scarfer potentially, so you can try to have the jump versus the likes of Rabombi and others. Also Scarf Heracross or Trailblaze Cloth. Also, you can just try to pressure Incineroar for Delphox as well. And then last I put Slowking, just as a tank versus the likes of Inteleon and Noivern. Especially Inteleon, it is pretty threatening. And on Joey's side, we have Pecharunt. That's it, that's the team. Right, goodbye, it won. Okay, maybe not entirely by itself, but it could definitely win like half of the team by itself. Like for sure, it's Pecharunt. There's no explanation needed. It's Pecharunt. Then I'm gonna say Cloth because I like its Trailblazer here. It can be pretty decently tanky, but also hit decently hard versus the matchup, especially versus Uzi's physical tank like Sandaconda. Because, you know, Terra Grass, Trailblaze. Like I mentioned earlier, Inteleon is scary because Uzi's water resist are both weak to dark, so just water move plus dark pulse from Inteleon is threatening, especially if you consider the flinch chance of dark pulse. Incineroar because you want something for Delphox and Hunter. Rabombi for its speed and potential use of Sticky Web if it's not bringing like the Fog Decidueye or Rapid Spin Sand / Alola. And last, I'll put Reggie Steel, just a pretty decent tank. You get rocks with it. And is decent versus Kill Watchel. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Joey because again, Petcharound is dummy, and and if played right, it has Incineroar to back it up. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Joey on this one. Also, he's on a streak, so and again, he just need one more win to make playoff. I mean, we confirmed playoff. All right, and then on the last matchup is Droy and Shakle. Droy still trying to play for his first win, whereas Shakle is still in his winning streak, just like Joey. So on Droy's side, I think Cleavor is pretty strong with his stab, and then you have, like whatever move you want to hit the right player with, either close combat or Trailblaze, depending on your preferences. If you just want to U-turn out of it. I also like the low kicks here for his priority, and also pretty hard hitting moves. I also like the purple pass here, especially with Terra Steel. Like that gives you a decent answer to God of War that also can hit okay-ish back because of Terra Steel Flash Cannon, while also having Volt Switch for pivoting. Raichu less speed tier at worst speed ties Tauros. That's his best speed tier, otherwise Tauros can just run circle on him, let alone Electrode or Cryogonal. So having Raichu can be pretty good to have. Clodsire is a decent tank that can get hazard for Droy. And last I put Galarian Articuno because I don't think B-Sharp is bad, but it's not like I found something better on Droy's team besides that. Like it can be pretty strong, especially if you land the Hurricanes. So on Shakle's side, I just put Gardevoir because it's a nuke. I put Milotic because it's going to Blastoise if you try some Shell Smash shenanigans. Viper is also a big annoying Pokemon that hits hard and takes hits. Cryogonal is very stupid, like we saw previously, but this one is just a combination of Ice Move and Terra Blast Ground, and Droy has very little counterplay defensively. Then last, I put Mimikyu. These guys can be clutch depending on what you want to do with it. And I put Tauros because it's another Pokemon that runs circles on Droy's team and hits very hard. So yeah, I really like Shakle's team more, so I'm gonna go with him over Droy. Hopefully you'll get your win on during a time. Maybe you'll give it this week. But who knows? Hopefully we'll see Droy not be 0-8, but maybe not this week, unfortunately. But yeah, phew, that's week 5 done. Alrighty, we're close. Sometimes, I'll just end it at that. That's all I have to say, because again, I am still recording a little bit late. Not because I was busy, but literally because I forgot to do it. So yeah, tomorrow we'll have the matches and we'll see the result, and we'll be back on week 6 and onward then. See you guys next week then. Bye bye.